Namaste, Jai Ma. So before coming here, we were having some very nice discussion, question answers, and I would wish that the talk is shorter and well, there are more interactions through question answers. But then it opens the field to a wider, delving deeper into Sri Aurobindo's vision. But since there is a subject, I have to speak on a subject, which is very difficult because every subject connects itself ultimately to the divine, and the divine is infinite, and there is no end to what can be spoken about, even a blade of grass. We should remember that because the divine dwells in everything. So, and nothing can be known really unless we know the divine. We cannot understand water unless we know the divine. That's how it is described. Yasmin vigyate vigyati sarvam. And the logic is very simple. We can say what is water? It's a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. But why this combination gives rise to properties and cognate experiences and possibilities that we call as water, it remains a mystery. So let's enter into the mystery of child and youth, and we can add old age. So I don't know. Initially, the subject given was the inner child, and it reminded me of the inner child therapy, which is all very superficial stuff. So I just put it aside. So, child, youth, and old age. Now, what nature does is everything that we see in nature, it carries within it some kind of a truth. And if you touch that truth, then one can understand all the rest. Like, for example, seasons of life. Seasons of life contain within it a wonderful truth. So, we have the spring when life is blooming and you are receiving life through every sense, from the ripe mangoes to the quail to the honeybees and everything. Life is blooming in every way. Flowers. So that's the first season of life. Nature is trying to tell us right now it is spring, but it is true that spring doesn't last always. But what does it give way to? It gives way to summer. Summer is the season of effort and labor, sweat. So next stage of life is sweat. So those who are not ready for it, they start getting encrusted over. So that's the next season when we toil, put in effort, till the soil, all this is happening. Then what comes next after summer? Not enjoying the benefits of a retired life. There's nothing like that. Nature doesn't show anything like that. Next is rain. Talking of the four conventional seasons, there are six, of course, and we all experience it. But let's say the third is rain. What does rain show? Rain comes, makes the hard soil, little boggy, little smooth. It cleanses things. So rain is the period of cleansing. So when we go through life, we gather a lot of dust, inevitably, because you're dealing with life. So many things come in, all things, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, everything comes. So there should be a time when we sit back, reflect, call in the grace, or by whatever means undergo the purification process. So there is this purification required. Purification is not about moral and ethical purification. Purification is about taking up anything and taking it to its divine possibility, divine origin, connecting it with that. So purification. So once that purification by the rain is done, then comes the next. And the next is autumn. So what happens in autumn? You see the tree is gradually shedding the leaves. The tree is gradually, as if interiorizing itself. What is it preparing for? As the famous poet has said, it's preparing for the spring that is going to come. So there is a constant cycle of life. So people often ask me that what is the proof of rebirth? So I tell them all over the world it is written. Only man doesn't want to see it. Don't we see how seasons change? They go follow a cyclic pattern. Everything in life follows a cyclic pattern. If we just take this lesson, we don't need to to read a book about what should be our dharma in different ages of mankind. We are just discussing first 25 years, life will bloom. Don't ask a 20-year-old boy or girl, sit in meditation, be quiet. They must meet the challenge of life. Go through that. All the things are expressing themselves. It's wonderful. They need to meet the life through every sense. Then comes the season when toil, effort. Don't give inheritance, you know, airlines gifted to a 4-year-old boy. Don't do this. Let them put toil and effort, labor, hard labor. And then comes the stage when slowly you begin to, as they call, as the period of midlife, when you really reflect. And when you reflect, you begin to see how your life has been so far so that you can give it a new orientation. In different ways it comes. And that's the time when you remove the dross and keep the lesson of life intact. I'll give you an example. In sweet 16, 17, many people go through heartbreaks, isn't it? If somebody is not gone through, you have not missed something important in life. Then what happens? When you are that time, it looks at the end of the world, isn't it? Oh my God, world has ended. When you are 45, 50, then what do you do when you remember? You smile. And if somebody says, I'm going through a heartbreak, you say, yeah, I know, it's okay, you'll get over. If you were in that stage and somebody told it's okay, you'll feel very irritated. So you see what happens? You are turning all experiences, reflecting upon them, turning into coins of truth. You have to exchange into mint of truth. There is a truth in all experience that meets our life. And then when we have done that process, then we are ready to interiorize and concentrate. Some people can do this whole process within 30, some can do it in 60. It's not hard and free, but an average person requires these seasons to go through. If you do it prematurely, you join an ashram at the age of 20, 25, what you will do? Ultimately, most people will end up carrying the same baggage. So that's why Sri Aurobindo would not take very young people into the ashram. He would say that if you take an adolescent, he will end up with having a lot of conflict because it's a concentrated place. It's meant for a very concentrated endeavor. So you have to go through these challenges and then you have to go through that process. Again, I'm saying it's not hard and fixed 25, 25, but by and large, these are stages through which human beings evolve. So same way we can look at everything, including childhood, youth and old age, or mid-age and old age, if you want to put it. So what really is a child? What is something about a child? Child, one way to define his child is age. A helplessly dependent fellow. Child is someone, I mean, that also has its own meaning. Child is somebody full of curiosity and wonder. A child's mind is not conditioned by anything. You'll be surprised that children till an age, they don't know that there is something called as death. And when they enter adolescence, suddenly, or they see somebody dying in the family, it's a shock to them. What is death? They go through a lot of existential crisis. They ask questions. What is this? Then they start thinking, oh, nothing is permanent. Maybe my parents will also go away one day. It's a very, it comes as a big shock that there is something called as nothing is permanent. So, but a child is completely no frames. Unfortunately, they live with parents. Parents give frames. Society gives frames. School gives frames. So by the time they are going into adult life, they're full of frames. So their angle of vision is already tainted, completely tainted. I'll give you an example of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. When the school had started, just to give you a taste of how the mother would do things. So in knowledge, which is when children are about 18, 19, and even before that, one teacher was telling this to me directly, firsthand. So he was this, chit of a boy at that time. So he was saying that when the teachers asked, when the school had started, Mother, what should we do? How should we take the classes? She said, nothing. You just go and sit in the class. And how to organize the class? Nothing. You are available. Children are free. When they want to ask something, they will come. In 1 year, he was saying in the whole batch, only two, three of them went. And he said, unfortunately, I was not one of them. So these people went and told mother, it's not working. He said, doesn't matter. Continue. Second year, third year, which child will go to the teacher except the one who is truly curious? So these children were enjoying life or whatever they thought. See, there is a learning which is going on, even in the most casual, random steps. We have forgotten this. This system that has come now into us, which is a highly intellectual system. How was Satyakam taught about Brahma Jnana? How were Gurukuls organized earlier? Not the way we understand now. Children are engaged in activities of life, and the mentor's role was through everything you connect with the divine. Why they could do it? Because there was this conditioning element was missing. Conditioning element is that, well, grass is green. Either it is supposed to be green or else because it's chlorophyll. Actually, if you pick up anything and go deep into it, you will touch the supermind. That's the beauty. Because you will reach that point where you'll say, but what is determining a gene to unfold in this way? The latest discovery about genes is very fascinating. That genes act in a predictable manner. They don't act randomly. This is very latest. Pure by calculation that we believed it randomly happening, but we so surprising randomly. But they act in, there is a certain predictability involved in it. As if they are conscious. Of course, they are not conscious individually, but there is an intelligence which is guiding. So, child is open to that universal intelligence and consciousness in such a wonderful way. I'll give another example of a child. Two examples. One was where, uh, the teacher who had come from outside was asking, he was sharing this experience. That, well, he asked the children that, what did you have today? Now, you see, what is that? We had idli, dosa, something. The child who had idli, where did idli come from? Oh, my mama made it. Okay. Yeah, but where did it come from? Oh, the ingredients you mean? Yes. So it came from the shop. Rice. Okay. From the shop or through the shop? Now you see, only child can think like that. Oh, yes, through the shop. It came from the fields. From the field or through the field. Now the child has a aha experience. The child says, oh, it came from God. Now, God for him is, there is a, which has joined together what? Sun, water, earth, the labor of the person, space, fire, the warmth, everything together to make a grain of rice. Now you see, what does it mean? It means that the story that Sri Krishna, when he takes one grain of rice and says, I am trypta, see the deeper sense of it. And child got it. It's very difficult for an adult to conceive this. Because the adult mind is already, poison mind. It's a biased mind. So similar, the other story I'll tell you, very fascinating. This, I had that experience in Dali Choda, one of the schools in Odisha. So he asked the children, no, one of the child asked me. So he said, what language does mother understand? What will be your answer? No, people have heard this. No, people have heard. Normally we say mother's language was French or whatever. No, that's how. So I reverted the question to the children. I said, what do you think? One child comes up. Odia. I said, why do you say Odia? Because whenever I pray to the mother in Odia, I get an answer. I said, any non-Odia speaking? Yes. In Hindi, when you pray? Yes, I get an answer. So they understood that mother understands all languages. Even the language of the dumb, four-footed things. That's how we have that line in Savitri. All nature dumbly calls to her alone to heal with her feet the aching throb of life. See, the child should be always, and now later on, when we have grown through all the adult trappings, we had so many examples, even yesterday. That one example I'll give you because this is something common which we all experience. So you see, when you are freed from that, it takes so much effort. Look at how J. Krishnamurti speaks about it, Buddha speaks about it, getting free from all the trappings of the systems. Then only you can experience reality. It's true. Now, it doesn't mean demolishing them as they did, but to understand their place in the totality of things. It's not this is true or that is true, but both are true. Both are true. I'll give this example. If somebody asks that, well, this place belongs to whom? You can have two answers. One is to the trustees, technically, legally, I am saying, whoever is the trustee, isn't it? You can equally say to the devotees, you can equally say to Sri Aurobindo and the mother. Are they either or they are together? That's how we have to look at life. See, Sri Aurobindo's yoga is about this. You don't cancel one for the sake of the other. The mind has to completely come out of all these trappings. Even this is a trapping, that this is an illusion and that is real. Even being unconditional is a trapping. Savitri gives a very powerful line. He says, what is that freedom which is not free when it is in bonds? Look at the line. Moment you say that, well, I will be free when I'm out, out of all my bonds. A lot of people say, oh, I have problems. I am in so much bondage. Always wife or husband is a bondage. Then, despite saying bondage, you have another bondage, fourth bondage, children, then in-laws, and everybody is a bondage. No. Bondage is inside. That's what the Gita says. So when we understand that way, the entire yoga can be revealed without reading a book. For children, it is natural. I remember once going on a scooter with a child, and there were people crying because, 5-year-old. So the child says, why are they crying? I said, because somebody has died in the house, because, the dead body. So he comes with a very strange question. He says, okay, then why are they crying? He said, this is eye opener. Okay, then why are they crying? So I said, okay, I'll get down at home and I'll explain to him. But what you're saying is true. There's so many things which habitually we are conditioned. Have you ever thought our responses are, a lot of them are simply habits and conditioning. We can give a completely different response. Yoga is about that. If you take Raj Yoga, one of the methods is this. The same event, there is a habitual response. Oh my God, my most favorite thing is gone. Oh, why did God do this to me? How cruel. Another response. Oh my God, thank you. I was so attached to this thing. I just couldn't leave it. You snatched it away from me. Thank you, Appa. So nice. That's how Sri Aurobindo says in the jail, no? The bonds that I could not break, you broke them for me. You see, that's what yoga is about. You have the same habitual response change. For children, it is so natural. Have you seen how quickly they change? They are fighting, next moment they are friends. They don't carry the enmity, and we carry. This fellow had said this to me. Then the disease called gravitis starts. Very dangerous disease. It inflames not only the heart, it inflames the whole body, gravitis. Then it inflames others, contagious disease. Because wherever you'll go, you'll complain about that person who once did this to you, and see how we judge people, fix them in slots. And then they are fixed for life. So when people do that, I say, Arey bhai, evolution bhi kuch hota hai. People progress, they evolve, they change. They're not dead people. Are you talking about a dead person? So many such examples. Like somebody asked, as I was saying, mother is, आप mother किसको बोलते हैं? Whom do you call as the mother? Basically, the body goes into Panchabhut, Panch Tattva. So you're meaning universal mother. I said, well, body goes into Panch Tattva. What happens to consciousness? Does it die? No. Energy, does it die? No. Will, does it die? No. It continues to act. Idea, does it die? No. Only the body dies. Body is not the person. So you see, you can answer this in such a simple way. Yes, certain ideas will perish within a short time. After some time, they will have their effect, but they'll be replaced by larger ideas. Some will, there are wills which continue to act even after death, but after some time, they will fade away. But when the divine will manifests in a human body, incarnates in a human body, that will continue to exercise its work. Consciousness, will, love, divine love, when it expresses, will continue to have its action. So the person had an aha feeling. He said, oh, so we can say that about Krishna and Rama also. I said, exactly. I said, you can have an opinion poll in a room. Somebody was telling me in a similar setting that, well, uh, now that, Sri Aurobindo is no more. I said, hold on, hold on. We'll come to Sri Aurobindo later. I said, I'm going to make a statement. Those who agree with me, please raise your hands. So what is the statement? I said, Krishna is dead. Now, everybody is quiet. I said, say, raise the hand. Now you see what happens. The intuitive sense in the heart, it's not just about belief or faith. It finds it so paradoxical. So this is how child in us is always full of wonder. He doesn't stop with anything. The moment we say, I understand Sri Aurobindo, and if you say, I am the only one who understands Sri Aurobindo, then finished. That's why the mother says, who can understand Sri Aurobindo? He is as vast as the universe, and his teaching is infinite. And then she gives us a clue. The only way to know a little of him, to come a little closer to him, is to love him and to serve him unconditionally, or give yourself to the work that he has come here for. Now look at the words. I was so surprised when I had read this. He is as vast as the universe. You understand? How is the teaching infinite? Teaching is words. Shabda Brahmati Vartate. How can the teaching be infinite? And then she disclosed, she said, see, every time you will discover a new meaning. It's a pity that people have not read Sri Aurobindo, and I would say the mother. I would say read them as many times as possible. Once Jugal Kishore Mukherjee was registrar of Center of Education in Ashram. He could remember back and forth. If you give him a passage from Life Divine, he will say, let us on yoga. On this page, you will find something similar. In Synthesis of Yoga, on this page, you will find something similar. So last 2 years of his life, he didn't know 2 years. He told me, I had gone to him for something in something. He said, now I just want to spend 2 years of my life reading Sri Aurobindo. I said, what? Jugalda, come on. How many times have you read? He said, just about 21 times. He says, what do you want to read? No, just for my joy. And he left his body after 2 years while reading the book. On the book. Because it gives a new, it will take you to a point where one goes beyond the teaching. That's what is Sabda Brahmati Vartata of the Gita. And suddenly you see that infinite. So beautiful. So it becomes a scaffolding. But the moment we say, I understand, and fix Sri Aurobindo in a slot, somebody wrote a book situating Sri Aurobindo. Okay, I don't want to go further. So somebody asked my opinion. I said, the fellow doesn't know where he is situated. He is writing about situating. Draw hierarchies and this and that. So once somebody told me this also about another mystic who said, Sri Aurobindo was on this level and that level. I said, I thought he believed in unconditioning his mind. This is unconditioning. See how foolish we can become. Even unconditioned mind can become a bondage to thought. You see, this is how, but a child, so to keep that child always, to always remember that whatever one may know, whatever one may have done is nothing compared to whatever needs to be done. It's a natural humility. Knowledge first condition is humility. No humility, no knowledge. Arrogant people, that story, when somebody went to a master and asked, I want to know from you, get knowledge. So master said, okay, why don't you first have a cup of tea? The disciple started, he told the disciple, please pour tea. The disciple started pouring. Now he is obedient. The master has said, pour the tea. He didn't say, stop pouring the tea. So he kept pouring and the cup spilt and the tablecloth was spilt, and then it started coming to the person. Like most of us who respond to problems only when they afflict me. Unlike Buddha and Sri Aurobindo who look at the problem, cosmic problem, and respond. That is the difference. Suddenly he says, sir, but the cup is full. He says, yes, like you. Your mind is so full of all kinds. You are coming for knowledge. You are coming to show how much you know. Knowledge will find no room. So that's a child. So keep this child alive. Otherwise, I'll go on. Huh? So I'm cutting short the child. Child is someone who is full of wonder, who looks at world with wonder, looks at stars and wonders. It doesn't mean that he doesn't know how the stars are in galaxy. Yes, he knows. You may be adult. Still, you have seen these great scientists, Einstein. They had the sense of the mystic. Why? Because Karl Popper, David Bohm, they had the sense of wonder when they looked at creation. They gave complex theorems. Yet, always, that whatever we know, there is something always more to be known. This was asked to Sri Aurobindo. Is there something still to be known by you? Is that in creation there are always things to be known? Now, fundamentally, you know the supreme, you know everything. But in creation, there are always things which come up, which you need to know. He talks about the Korean conflict. He talks about the Kashmir problem because these will come up. Manifestation is about that. You need to know. Even if as a Trikal Drishti you have seen, when they come, they will come in a certain ways. So this state of humility, which is natural to a child, we should always keep. That's why one of the big problems of our college education is it gives you a degree. Degree is, now you know it. What do I know? I've just passed an exam. I don't know anything. After my um, Air Force retirement, when I went to ashram, people told me, why don't you join PIMS? Why don't you join here? It'll be a help to the ashram. I said, now let me try to completely forget all that I know. I want to learn new things. I'm not come here to perpetuate. It's not that you don't use that knowledge, what you have learned, because avidya, there is one kind of knowledge that comes in avidya. Another kind which comes in vidya, you have to join the two. But let me get that greater knowledge and then join the two rather than just perpetuate the avidya. So one could go on and go on. That's why the children grows. Another thing which mother says, children are full of the thirst for progress. So she says, have you ever noticed how they grow soon? They're always looking up to someone. There's always dad can do things, my elder brother can do things. So they want to, grow up. We forget that growth. So that's why when you look up to Sri Aurobindo and the mother, one of the things that they make you understand is, boy, whatever you may have experienced, Read about me. I mean, he doesn't say in those many words because he's humble. He's the Sri Aurobindo's humility is beyond measure. But at least that's, I always say that they have set such a high benchmark that whatever experience you may have, you will feel it's nothing because they have set such a high. That's why reading Sri Aurobindo and the mother, their life, mother knocking Amrit Das and these three people's head and saying, "My child, Brahman realization I can give you like this." But we are not here for that. Say, oh, okay, hold on. I had a fantastic experience and all was still me. There is so much more. So children are always ready to progress. That's the fire. And when this progress becomes more conscious, more focused in a certain direction, then a child enters into youth. Children are progressing in many directions. It's like life. I mean, they should be made to ask questions. Children who don't ask questions are, people often say that it may be a stupid question. There are no stupid questions at any level. There are stupid answers and there are plenty at every level. So, asking questions is something good is given to us. This idea that I don't ask questions, that means I'm knowledgeable. No, it means you have not begun the process of learning. Knowledge starts when you raise questions and nothing to be taken for granted. That's how, at least, when I would read Shankaracharya, I wouldn't take it for granted. I said, how come you are saying this? This is very logical. And yet, for example, as I was mentioning about rope snake analogy, which is the famous one. So nowadays you'll see a lot of shots. Those Swamiji's keep on talking about. Please change the analogy at least. Be original in some way. You can make, for example, analogy between ice cream and just water. don't use same analogy is continuing. Lack of creativity. Anyway, so I said take the rope snake analogy. That in ignorance it looks like a snake, in knowledge it looks like a rope. What is the analogy actually telling us? Where is the problem? Is the problem with the rope and the snake, or is the problem with the percipient and the perception? See, the problem changes. It's not that world is like this, it's my perception of the world, which needs to be corrected. Now, you go from there, then things begin to take a different shape. Because what point I know that my perception is a truth perception? That's how Sri Aurobindo went on. He had this experience of Maya. But where is the truth perception? Truth perception should reveal the secret truth of everything. Sri Aurobindo gives a criteria in Savitri that how do you know that you have touched the highest? He says, this too must be left behind as all must be, till that is known in which world and God grow true and one. Wonderful criteria. So how can you stop at this? You have not reached that reconciling step. You don't have to be a philosopher to understand this. You have to be a child to understand this. Only a child can say, ask a question which wise people find difficult to answer. So many children who ask such questions, wonderful questions. And we unfortunately don't, on karma, on so many things. So, child, but when this progress, this quest which is there, this urge to grow, wonder, sense of wonder, natural humility, and I would use the word dependence. Is dependence good or bad? See the problem. Is there a state of complete independence in anybody's life? From today, I am not going to take anything from anyone and anywhere. Creation is compelling us. If nothing else from anyone, you will take air. Whose air is it? Your air? So you have the idea of yajna. There is an interconnectedness of life. And if you take one step further, you will arrive that our true relation with the divine is a relation of dependence. That's how in the life divine, Sri Aurobindo describes that. We were just reading this chapter in the camp. that what is our true relation. When you take the three poises, Purusha and Prakriti is one poise. Individual you can take. You can take the poise of Brahman and Maya. So I am Brahman, you are all is Brahman, there is no dependence. But there is a yet greater relation. Beyond the Purusha, Prakriti and Brahman Maya, there is the Ishvara and Shakti. And every soul is a portion of the Ishvara and Shakti. And then there is a beautiful dependence. A child typifies. Dependence is not about making yourself incapable. Dependence is to enable yourself and empower yourself. And we can take this lesson because many people have a problem in surrendering. So when you depend on the parents or the teacher later on, what happens? What is the teacher doing? A good teacher will never crush your this thing and make you, he will enable you, empower you. And when you are empowered, when you go out into the world, they are not with you, and yet they are with you. You can connect with that truth, that teaching. And if they've really enabled you, you will be able to come up with very novel suggestions and ideas, and you will always remember it's because, all the students who have gone through, they remember that we were empowered, enabled to do it this way. That is the relation between the child soul and the Divine Mother and Shri Aurobindo. So you see, but many people find very difficult. They ask, all this is fine, Shri Aurobindo's philosophy, yoga, why do you are going to the picture? You have to ask them, why do you keep your girlfriend's photograph in your wallet? Sometimes you keep something which makes you feel connected. Now, mother's photograph are one step further because then you can ask this simple question. What is a photograph? It what if you reduce any form and name, it's energy. There is certain kind of energy or consciousness. The film tries to capture it, like sound tries to capture. And then when it is projected, something of it continues. That's a photograph. It's not just a remembrance. I've seen some mystics talking like that. Oh, photograph is only for remembrance. I said, excuse me, that's not true. Photograph, if you really go into the science of it, is picking up something of the energy and consciousness and projecting out on a film to make it available far away elsewhere. That's why when we see a television show or a cinema where there is a ghost movie, most of them are laughable, but sometimes you feel, oh my God, in the big, not this. Why? When there is a human, because something of that has got contaminated. Of course, live show is live show, but something of it gets transmitted. Ultimate technology will be that which is able to capture most of it and project it. That technology exists in the occult world, it has yet to manifest. And when that manifests, just imagine what potential will be. So that's how one has to be always full of wonder, question things. So that's why tradition and authority sometimes become a hindrance to progress. And that's why we see today's children questioning everything. Is it good or bad? Now we know it's very good. Okay. So before Vaishali starts showing me time. So next is, I told half an hour, this is my problem. Switch on karne se rukta nahi. Okay. In short, thankfully you said basically about the child. So youth is my addition. Who is young? Young is was always wanting to progress, achieve. Always. Youth is somebody who faces the future. One example of the youngest of the young is the Divine Mother. When she is withdrawing outwardly, 1955, the trust is formed. In 1958, last class in the sports ground, in the playground. 62 onwards, she didn't come out of the room upstairs. But that's the time she uses to plunge into the yoga of the cells fully. And give me an example of somebody who at the age of 90 starts a project mega project, a divinely dream city. कौन करता है? 90 में तो we talk about my children, they are well settled, one is in abroad, now abroad is no more lucrative. I am waiting. Someday they will say my child is, in a village and doing some seva. Somehow that doesn't. Oh, my son is in California. Oh my God, what a horror! And they are so happy describing it. People will describe they've got married, then he has a child, he's studying in the school. Arey Baba, nobody is bothered or interested. It's the same old story, nothing special about it. But supposing you say my son decided to quit his job and at 25, 28, and he started working in the villages. I'm not talking of the divine, that's something still greater. Then you want to be interested. Okay, tell me more about it. What is it doing? So youth is somebody who is always wanting to achieve, not only to know. Child is more about knowing. He is not yet developed faculties to achieve. He knows many things. But youth is about achieving. Now, this achievement is not about ambition, which is outer, but inner achievement. Always there is something to be achieved. We have read so much from Shirvinda and the mother. Have we realized those things? How many have we? And go into that. That's being young. And to express those dreams. I was so happy, incidentally, now I can say publicly, to see that, Oro school on the way that you. So it was very brief, but it made me feel very happy that something new that all of you are trying to do. It's beautiful. That's a part. But for that, of course, there was no time. But whatever glimpse, it's so wonderful to see something new coming out. It's wonderful to see that. So this is how, when you want to do that, then you are young. What is the sign of old age? हमारे जमाने में क्या होता था? And if you sit with a military man, sorry to say, I fought the Kargil war and 71 war. अरे हो गया, अभी अंदर का युद्ध लड़िए, ज्यादा मुश्किल है. Fight the inner battle, far more difficult. But you see how old people. In our time, this stint used to happen. Children say, you have gone encrusted. In our time, this is what is happening. So you see the two responses. One is an old person who will see a child playing with cell phone. Oh, these children are spoilt. In our time, we just sat quietly. Nobody sat quietly. Huh? They are all fooling. When Papa said sit, we sat. We listened to them. Nobody listened. I can tell you, person who listened will come to nothing. You have to have some questioning, okay, the degree may be different, but something you want always. So, whereas the sign of a young person will be at 80 when he sees a person on smartphone doing things. How do you do it? Let me see. Let me learn. What is this app? You just do and food comes before you have Blinkit or something, whatever. How do you manage? Oh, you can do shopping online. I'm not suggesting these are good things or bad things. I'm simply saying I'm not necessarily learning that, but there's always something to learn. Maybe something inner, maybe even reading something. So urge to progress, to know more, to achieve more. See, person on the inner journey, the achievement will be different. It won't be, learning how to handle an app because you're not interested in that. But you're always, the day you say that, well, now I can sit and relax and retire. This mother, Shovinda uses the word bourgeois mentality, which corrupted the Indian thought. This idea of retirement, thankfully now it is going away. But in Indian thought, at one point it was so prominent. Government job. Why government job? Not because it's good to serve the country. At 60, you can retire and you will have pension life. Then what you will do? I'll sit and enjoy. Your wife will keep because she doesn't retire, no, unfortunately. She doesn't have a retirement age. So she's thinking, why this old man is, sitting. She'll keep prompting you. Are join something, join, do some seva. Basically, she wants to get rid of you. 24 hours, who can tolerate a person's idiocies? Few hours is okay. You come home and that time she'll say, I'm in the kitchen. Why she's avoiding you? You think she is doing so much seva? If she comes and sits by your side, you see wife's behavior, they will not sit for long. They'll give the tea and then you start speaking, I have something in the kitchen. Not interested in what you're speaking. You don't get a message, they will give the message in 100 ways. And if you have a child at the home, he will also, after some time, what is this old man always talking about in my age, my age, my age, my time? That's old age. But old age has another beautiful thing, one beautiful thing. Every age brings its own gift. So child gives the gift of humility, dependency on the interconnectedness of creation, unconditional mind, looking at life with wide open eyes, full of hope, full of joy. That's child, full of hope, full of joy and enthusiasm, receiving to everything, learning from everything. Youth is achieving in whatever way, whatever direction, whatever dimension, depending on each one's. And old is about the mints of wisdom you have gathered. A very interesting phrase in our um, spiritual literature. I love many phrases are beautiful, interesting. You can apply them at, they have a double meaning. So one of them is Pragya Prashrato Purano, the wisdom of old. Now here old is not old age. So Vishnu Bhagavan is regarded as Purusho Purano. And there are many things on that also. That Purush Puratan ki vadhu kyu na chanchala hoye. One poet has even gone on to say. Why Lakshmi keeps changing hands? Because her husband is an old man. Purush Puratan ki vadhu. He's the ancient of the days. So ancient here applies to the older you become, you must have grown wiser. But wisdom is not about this is wrong, that is bad, this I don't eat, that is children have gone. No. Wisdom is when you have gathered the essence of life. As I said, when you can smile at life, at everything. When you see your child doing certain things and you say, yeah, yeah, children do this. Then you sit with the child and discuss. Why do you do this? And okay, you don't say, in our times we didn't do this. Child will be put off. He's not interested in knowing about your times. It's not helping him at all. So you discuss with the child and bring him because you have gathered the mint of wisdom. He is still playing with information. He has not, uh, distilled knowledge out of it. So knowledge is distilling information and wisdom is distilling knowledge. So if somebody has distilled first information comes through the senses, knowledge, when you apply the mind and reason to it, and has extracted wisdom, then you can play. That's why you'll see the wise people are very fond of children. Children are the best. You see any mistake. Mother would play Ringa Ringa Roses with children. She would love when children are around. Because children are like that, so open. And she says, like a sponge, they absorb everything. Just like this. When we were small, we read about Hanuman. Did we question how can really a monkey fly? We loved it. When you grew up, somebody told us a monkey cannot fly. Huh? Yeah, we never thought of it like that. Then after some time, you discuss, you go through symbolism, you go through siddhis, you understand, you get the real sense of the story. What a long process. For a child, very simple. You can also be like Hanuman, fly. You can also be bhakti and seva, which brings Shakti. Automatically, it comes in children. They just absorb. So children like sponge. And when you have extracted the essence out of it, so Hanuman is seva and bhakti, which gives the buddhi, comes his His intelligence is born from that. Where has he learned from? Surya. What does it mean? I mean, apart from the fact that sun as an entity exists, Surya is conducting all the affairs of this life and creation. Nothing is hidden from sun. That's why it's called as the Purna Gyan. Of course, we connect it with the supramental sun, but here it means the complete knowledge through the very fabric of creation. He get that knowledge from Surya. And if you go through the details of that Surya knowledge, it is like that. It's not about, preaching or anything about, how to sit in meditation. It talks about life. That's why Hanumanji is so, what they can say, divinely smart. When Sursa opens his mouth, first he also become bigger and bigger. When she has mouth fully open, he has made a statement, "Tu phir mujhe kha na le." Now he has quietly put that no there, na le, kha na le. And he just entered the mouth and comes and says, I have fulfilled my promise, and now your turn to fulfill your promise. Where did he learn all this from? No scripture will teach us. Life will teach us where to be humble. Through the sun, which inspired him, intuitively awakened in him all that needs to be known, because he was seeker, and therefore he becomes prepared for this great work. So we have old age, and finally, elderly should also look forward. In Sanatan Dharma, we have always something to look forward. Some look forward toward their children. No, that's okay. What you have done is done now. Or what their destiny is, it will unfold. Look forward to the times that are going to come. We look beyond the pyre. We look beyond the grave. Still, so much so, look at one last thing. How does the Bhagavad Gita mentions about death? He says, remember me and fight the great battle at all time. Why? Because if in a state of my remembrance you depart, you will come straight to me. Look at it. It's looking forward. So to look forward beyond death, to go to the divine or to come back to do his work. So even so-called old age becomes a means for something higher and greater. Normally, we don't do anything, in old age, because we are not going to reap the fruits. Doesn't matter. Lay the soil, till the soil. Somebody else will reap the fruits. So that's the way we can proceed through all the different stages of life. Sorry, I'll stop here because this can just go on. Cutting short, half an hour I had thought, but it's gone to 1 hour. And we can take questions. Okay. Not only on this, anything. Surya Gyan, anything. No need to. Yes, please. So there are two, three things which are mixed in the question. But first, I'll talk about information, which is one of the problems that everybody mentions. There is an assumption here. Assumption here is that there is a limit to which the mind can take information. Now, I'm just challenging this premise. Is it true? We could get a limited amount of information, we felt filled. How is it that today's children are able to take it? So, as we are challenged by life, mind about the mind, just about the mind. Mind has a capacity to expand endlessly. And yogis are known. They are known to remember things which, I'll give you one example of Sri Aurobindo. This is the future towards which people will move. There are three examples I know. One is of a gentleman called as Harkishan, phenomenal memory. Second is of Swami Vivekananda, and third is of Sri Aurobindo. I'll talk about Sri Aurobindo's example. I know even about a devotee of disciple of Sri Aurobindo of that kind. So Sri Aurobindo, they were all playing cards, friends, Baroda days. So Sri Aurobindo would play cards sometime, but that day he was busy reading a book. He said, all of you play, I'll just read the book. Quite a thick book, maybe 200 pages. Sri Aurobindo finished it in half an hour and kept the book aside. What? You have read the book? He said, yes. Really? Really? Page by page? Yes. Okay, let us test you. Opened a page and just told the page number. Sri Aurobindo verbatim recounted from top to bottom. So you see, there is no limit. We have to teach them how to shift information. What is dangerous is that viral shots, because that is distraction. But if we teach them, train them, and they are getting trained already. See, there are a lot of plus and minus in education, but we cannot stop, as you rightly said, stop information input. Also teach them how to distill it into knowledge. Many grown-ups, for example, don't know that if you click on a particular video once, twice, the feed will keep coming. It's basically, algorithms which computers are using, internet is using, and now with AI, it's thought control. Teach them, it'll be very fascinating to them. I'll give you another example. Watching a movie. You watch a movie with a child. Don't say, अरे क्या पुराना ये क्या फिल्म हमारा समय का पिक्चर बहुत है हाँ हमारा समय का सब कुछ अच्छा था. So you watch a movie, today's movie, things are there which you may say good or bad, जो हमारे समय में नहीं होता था. डाल पकड़ के वो हीरोइन एक ही जगह पर गाना गाती थी. हीरो का भी क्या अंदाज था, इतना वेल्ड करके वो बोलता था कि आई बेसिकली फील फॉर यू. इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. So how do you shift this information? That's important. So what parents should do, and watch the movie with the child, doesn't matter. Come back, sit and discuss. Don't give jnana of lecture type, so horrible. This is not the way. They have to go out and meet the challenge of life. We are not here to prepare children to become sannyasis. Sorry to say. But we are here to help them take the challenge of life, integrate. So keep them midst life, they will have and discuss with them. That's what the mother said, that let them come back and talk to you. So they should have the confidence. When they will have the confidence that when we go and discuss with parents, they'll say, what? You watched that movie? Horrible. They should have the confidence that you can discuss with the child, with the parent, and then the parent talk to it, talk about it, and distill the knowledge out of that ignorance, information. And I could multiply examples endlessly about any subject, even the banned subjects, even the taboo subjects, because there is a knowledge which is operating within everything. There is also wisdom. I'll give you one example out of many, many. One which is a little cleaner example. Drugs. People took to drugs in 60s. There was a movement, hippie movement, counterculture movement. So hippies were like, मलेच्छ लोग नहाते नहीं है, बाल बड़े करते हैं, विदेश कहाँ से आ गए. That's how it was, no? Beat music, rock. We want no education. क्या है ये we want no education? ये कोई, is it music? No. Look at the mother's reaction. When these hippies, everywhere they were going, they're moving around. So they came to ashram also. What did the mother do? She didn't say, no, no, hippies are not allowed. You trim your hairs, take a nice bath, come here. She made Park Guest House basically for these people. It was a little away from the main ashram. And then some people made her hear about the about some of the music. Then she hears his there are some notes which are coming from high up. And then she made a very interesting remark. She says they are barbarians of the new world. They've broken the old world order, but they don't know which way to go. Why they were taking drugs? Because they wanted alternate experience, a life which had crushed them under the science, technology, and reason and analysis. They were they wanted to escape. They didn't know how. They became mad, crazy. Mother one place says, I've heard from the reports I get that many people in America are getting mad. For the moment, it is good. She even says that if you have the thirst for the highest, doesn't matter what you say. Even in Orwell, what did she say? Russians said, we don't believe in God, but we believe in your project. But we can't take oath in the name of divine servitors. He said, do you believe in perfection? Yes. Okay, use the word perfection. See how she worked. Find that common ground. So she saw that these were children who had revolted from the conventions, but they didn't know which way to go. They wanted alternate experience of the worlds, and they took to drugs. How did mother deal with this problem? She didn't deal with it as a moral problem. She dealt with it as a spiritual problem. See the difference. So what was the spiritual problem? Well, the need to experience things beyond the frames is a valid need. Aldous Huxley has written a whole book on it. Doors of Perception, Heaven and Hell. Wonderful book. He experimented with these things. A lot of experiment took place, still are taking place. But when you try with drugs, you fall into the dark lower worlds. Hardly anybody will write a Kubla Khan. Coleridge wrote it apparently, but most people will. So she explained that look here, you want the experience, this is the way to go about it. This way, these are the danger, and then you make a choice. Now you see the difference. So spiritual education is about that, to bring out the essence of everything, not put things in two slots. Morally right, morally wrong. So the age of morality is over. That's the problem now with children. We don't want them to watch videos which are about sex, but equally we don't teach them that what really sexuality is about. It's not about having a physical pleasure. It's about when people love each other. I'm talking at a human level, not straight away. Don't start teaching brahmacharya, all that. But even brahmacharya never meant only about outer abstinence. But they learn that, well, when two people love each other, that intensity of love spills into every aspect. It goes into the physical, and this is the only crude, clumsy way of expressing. So then what do they understand? Sex could be an expression of love, or it could just be pleasure. And you see the difference? The children they should feel that when they come and discuss with you, they don't feel, oh, I am doing something immoral, and they get a moral lecture. So this is how information should be distilled into knowledge and knowledge into wisdom. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Priority.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes, please. Yes. Yeah. So you have to be here, so you will know who are the teachers. You can take a chair and sit here. No, you can take a chair. Sir. Wow. So thank you so much. Actually, I was just remembering now that Ajit Bhai told me it's the foundation. So, well, we'll What really is psychic? If you see from the average person standpoint, Shobinda uses the word is supernumerary. Soul से क्या लेना देना? मरने के बाद चला जाता है. That traditional understanding, isn't it? What has soul got to do with life? It has got to do with afterlife, with some karma which it carries. Now, what does Sri Aurobindo speak of as about the psychic being? It's not just the true individual within us. It is a portion of the divine. Now, what does it mean? It's a portion of the divine. She says it's like a wire that connects our outer being, which is the lamp, to the divine, which is the generator. So now what does it mean? The soul spontaneously in us seeks and responds to the touch of divinity, to the vibration of divinity. So what is the soul doing? All the time, every time when we see, you see, when you read a story where there is a great sacrifice involved, story in Ramayana, when you read stories, of course, the scriptures are there, of Prithviraj Chauhan, stories of extreme courage, Abhimanyu, who is listening and feels, ah, it's the soul. Why? Because soul is always seeking and responds to truth, good and beauty. What is it that makes us inwardly feel, I shouldn't have done this? Not moral lectures. Moral is something else. Moral puts life into two slots, black and white, which don't exist. Because life moves through shades of grey. But this is beautiful. In, in speech, that's how we were taught, as children. You can communicate a point, but don't do it as if you are going to box the person. You can be firm and sweet without being caustic. What is it? Beauty in speech. There are places where they teach beauty in every sphere of life. That's why, this ideal of sannyas, I keep talking about it and I cannot, because they've completely blurred all these things. Everybody wears the same kind of clothes. Why? Life is about variety. You should wear different color clothes. That is so enchanting to the eyes. To the eyes again. Sense of the beautiful. Colors in the sky. The other day, rainbow. Now, this is where it will start from physical world. Then you take them to the vital world, which is a beautiful emotion. And you can give actual examples that you have something. And your best friend also wants the same thing. What would you do? What should you do? Consult your heart and tell us. Now you see the first responsibility is mera hai. But deep within, children feel. Many of them will come up with this answer. Maybe I should give it to my friend. Who is saying this? Psychic being. Only a person with a developed soul will say this. Because he understands that by sharing, I enhance myself. I have won something much more precious, a great friendship. See, so many dimensions. Person does not understand it intellectually, but he understands that, well, today I am giving this. It's not that one is doing with this calculation, but there is an automatic bond which is being created. So there is an intuitive, innate intelligence in this process. So what gestures are beautiful? You are going on the road, you are in a hurry, somebody falls. Should you say, I am in a hurry, I have to reach? Nowadays, advertisement come like that, no? That there is a person who is on a wheelchair and waiting, and suddenly a person comes, says, what are you come for? He says, interview, but time is over. I don't think I can make it because there is no lift here. So he pushes him through the stairways. Seen this ad? And he takes him to the room. He says, we can still make it. Takes him to the room of the CEO where the interview is going to happen. And after he puts the person there, he goes on the chair of the CEO and says, yes, now we'll have the interview. He says, so you are the CEO? Now you see the story ends there. But it has an impact. The word psychic is not used there, incidentally. Don't use the language and terms. But what is it? Who will do it? A person whose heart is in sympathy, who is generous. He says, just because I'm a CEO, he doesn't tell another person, please bring him up, I'll delay by 5 minutes, CEO going by the stage. No. He pushes and brings. So now why this hits you very deeply? Because it evokes the psychic sense. There are movies like that. There are advertisements like that. You can give them examples, ask them to write a little uh, paragraph or an incident where you felt suddenly the sense of that this is beautiful in action, not about now physical images. What are beautiful thoughts? They know it intuitively in the heart. They know it. Ask anybody to consult the depths of the heart. There is the sense of the beautiful. Good, same way. Truth, again, same way. So in the beginning, I'm like cutting it short. Each one could take an example. Truth, like eating food is truth. But this food comes, the whole universe has conspired to give me this idli. Is psychic understanding of life. It is inbuilt within children, but they lose it. That's why in children, because their mind is not much conditioned. So psychic is about laying the foundation of truth and good and beauty. Psychic also knows to discern between truth and falsehood. It's called as Nirishir Vivek. You give it water and milk, it can extract the milk. So in everything, there is a grain of truth. Anything one can pick up. Stone. Let's take an example since we are talking of. What is the truth of the stone? Start with that. Is there music in stones? Let them come up with that. Is there God in stone? Now, some will say, yeah, God is everywhere. No, no, not like that. Then you can tell them the story of Michelangelo, that very carved God's image, and so many, all of us, from stone. So, when he was asked, how did you know that this stone can be carved into a God's image? He says, because I saw it there. They are stories. So, what has the child learned? A great, profound truth that Kan Kan mein Bhagwan hai. He has also learned that hai, essence ka roop mein, the divine is there, but for manifesting, there is a role we have to play. You have not taught about Sri Aurobindo's philosophy and yoga, anything, but you have basically prepared him for Sri Aurobindo's great truth. That's what psychic does. What is psychic being's role? Its role is to uplift everything towards something beautiful, good, true. That's it's that which contradicts our first desire impulse. Is the psychic which tells us. Not I'm not talking of the moral idea. Moral ideas don't help much. They help only to maintain a facade. Like people who control things legally, see what happens. See the little India in Singapore and you will understand. That doesn't help. Moral things, you may teach any amount of things, you will end up with Victorian morality or the people who wear burqa and look at the worst kind of immoral acts they do outside taking off the burqa. Now, this is because it's something artificial. Why it doesn't work? Because it's artificial. It's not organic. It's not natural. It's not evolving out of from within. Somebody's mind has decided for you what is good and bad and right and wrong. It may be needed at some stage for very crude people, it's required. But what is required is to appeal to the child's sense of beauty, truth, and good. Then from there, you can take to the next level, the sense of the divine presence in everything. This goes beyond the manifestation. So you can say that, let's say that the divine is of multiple qualities. You can imagine a number of qualities. I'm just giving some example. So you ask that what does mountain represent as a quality? He may say steadfastness. He may say height, climbing higher and higher, as if mountains keep on climbing. Actually, mountains in dreams are symbol of the physical consciousness aspiring. Strong, steady. What does the ocean represent? Vastness. Earth, forbearing. It has a place for everyone and everything. Then go on and multiply. What are you preparing for? Sagun Brahma. No. You don't have to use the word Sagun Brahman. There are people who debate about Sagun Brahman but don't understand this. Sagun Brahman, by its very default, it means, that origin of all qualities is in the divine. Then you take them to Nirgun Brahman. How will you take? I'm not saying one is superior to the other. Both are at par. So you tell them to just sit quietly in the evening and just, I was just sharing this chirping of birds. Slowly everything settled. For a brief fraction of a moment, you feel a stillness. After they've done a vigorous sport, let them sit for a while, stillness. Then you can increase it. Increase it to in the crowd. Can you experience that moment of stillness? Then you can take it to any level. People even do spiritual practices in Tantra where between the breath, your moment, Kumbhak is about that moment of stillness. And they will come up with everything. What does stillness do? It nourishes activity. So what is its practical utility? Now scientists are speaking about the need of solitude. You see, earlier it was fast-paced life, rush, rush all the time. Now they say that, solitude helps you to nourish. And then they are saying that solitude doesn't mean go to Himalayas. Take out your own moments of solitude. And what is the difference between solitude and being alone? Alone is involuntary. I am feeling lonely. Being alone, I mean loneliness. Very lonely. Solitude is consciously you are choosing to be alone. So you see, so many things come from Nirgun Brahma. I'm just giving one example. Purushottama, all these things can be brought because they are real living and in every element of creation. In a grain of sand, one can see eternity. What did William Blake say? Same thing in poetry, no? When you hold eternity in the palm of your hand, see it in the grain of a sand. What is he saying? So, from anything you can pick up and touch the psychic, it opens to the divine. And then let them discover in its own way. What is your true self? So many exercises we could go, but this is connectedness with life. I prefer a teaching which is connected with life and organic emerges rather than simply feeding an information. There is a soul within you, psychic being. Now, after 5 sentences, person is, oh, yaar. Mind, challenge them, their mind with, you know, things which seem to be contradictory, real life problems. How are they going to resolve it? I'll give you an example. There is a play of the mother, which is called Towards the Future. क्या प्ले है? सिंपल है. हस्बैंड वाइफ है, वाइफ का अफेयर हो जाता है किसी के साथ. इट्स एक्चुअली फ्रॉम हर ओन लाइफ स्टोरी. ओके, एंड देन हाउ विल शी रिएक्ट? हाउ शुड शी रिएक्ट? Court case, alimony, fight, blame, complain. Read the play. Should I reveal the secret? Let it be a suspense. Reveal? Okay. When she discovers, she says something very interesting. She observes them together in a very, uncomfortable position. Then suddenly they start adjusting themselves, because a wife has entered. So she says, actually, I understand that both of you are truly compatible with each other. First, she says that. Both of you will be complementing each other. Then she says, I have only one advice. You go together, but I have only one advice for both of you. Don't let your love become completely an animal love. Have a common ideal, a great idea. And third, she says, she is freeing them of guilt. You see, last weapon is to put the other person in the spot of guilt. Because of you, my life has been destroyed. Now, poor fellow, you have given him the rasgulla which he can never eat. Otherwise, he will eat and realize it was not worth it. Now you have made him all his life. But what does she say? As for myself, I have to go further. I have learned that no human love can quench my thirst. You read it and you wonder, so beautiful. No divorce, nothing. A wide and generous heart, a progressive heart which is looking toward the future. It's the place toward the future. Full of compassion, full of understanding. दैट्स व्हाट चिल्ड्रन शुड बिकम. एवरेज व्यक्ति के पास जाएगा तो क्या बोलेगा? ऐसा किया ना, हाँ ये सारे मर्द एक जैसे होते हैं, ये सारी लड़कियां एक जैसी होती हैं. धोखेबाज all this. मैं जानती हूँ लॉयर को. करो अच्छे से मांगो उसको, करोड़ों रुपया घर मांगो, वो कुछ तो देगा. अरे तुम भी नाच रहे हो, वो भी नाच रहा है कोर्ट का, बोथ ऑफ यू आर मिजरेबल. एंड इफ यू हैव ए चाइल्ड, चाइल्ड इज मिजरेबल, बट पीपल डू इट because nobody taught them about psychic education. This is the importance of the psychic. It comes up with very novel kind of understanding, which is very deep, and it sort of uses it in psychic is not disconnected with it, is the divine element connected with life. So it comes up with that. It is always full of hope. Person who has realized the psychic will never have any hopeless state. Why? Because psychic knows the divine exists. That is the other play which he has, where the six people are on a boat and the boat is about to capsize, and there is the unknown man who suddenly says, we still can hope, let us pray together. So you see, the psychic is the one which gives hope, which gives joy, because it's always full of hope, which gives peace, strength. Whose strength? Prahlad ka kya strength hai? Tell them Prahlad's story is the story of the psychic. प्रहलाद को क्या है? जला नहीं सकते, गिराने से मरता नहीं, सांप से मरता नहीं, कोई चीज मरता ही नहीं है. उसका स्ट्रेंथ क्या है? उसका स्ट्रेंथ बहुत सिंपल है, कॉम्प्लिकेटेड माइंड का नहीं है. भगवान बुलाने से आएंगे नहीं आएंगे, क्या होगा, ये मेरा बाप है, बहुत भयंकर आदमी है, मैं क्या बोलूं. ओ प्रहलाद का स्ट्रेंथ है हरी 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 हरी. बाप कहता है तू मेरा निरादर कर रहा है. बोला नहीं डैड, आई रिस्पेक्ट यू, बट डोंट यू थिंक यू आर गोइंग ओवरबोर्ड बाय सेइंग यू आर गॉड. Excuse me, you are not God. I can't accept everything that you say as truth. How dare you? He says, well, I'm telling you, this is the truth. That this whole world is nothing else but two akshar, Hari. And then he breaks the pillar and out of it nursing enter. What a tremendous power of the divine is hidden inside the physical matter. You see? So that is how we have to teach them countless stories. Best way to teach about the psychic is about stories. Vamana avatar is about the psychic. Krishna avatar is about the immanent divine. So pick up any story, plenty of story. You take a story and ask what are the five most, take Ramayana for example, and ask the children what of the criticism and all that okay, people have their own. Five most beautiful things in the Ramayana. Write the five most beautiful things. See how they will come up with it. About any human being. When people are always, in life we get, oh, that person is like this. Now what will the psychic say? जो भी है, जैसा भी है, कुछ तो अच्छा है उसके अंदर. Problem solved. So psychic education is through all these means. I mean, of course, it can be a whole subject. Don't try the mental way, like a worksheet and a workshop. That's disconnected education. Education should be connected with life, that everywhere they feel there is a psychic presence in matter. That's what the mother says. On earth, special thing about earth. So it should always be connected with their life, their surroundings, near to far. And then you don't have to teach anything. See, all the three principles come there. Nothing can be taught. So you're not telling them there is a psychic being and I'll teach you about it. No. You lead them to their point. After that, doesn't matter whether they call soul, psychic being, presence, doesn't matter. Lead them to that point. Then Shubinda says near to the far. Start with the images, stories they're familiar with in their, this thing. Nothing should be imposed from outside. Through example, be the living example of these things so children will pick it up. When they see a person walk with that, as you yourself said very rightly, that the teacher has to be a yogi. At least an apprentice yogi. Being a yogi is a big thing. At least you must be really wanting to realize the psychic being. That's enough. The rest, the Divine Mother will do. She will use. Okay. Yes. Okay. Teachers first. Yeah. We'll come to that.
As for goodness, I'm actually how do you know that I'm part or not? It's fine.
Okay. How is the child open or not? Are you referring to goodness? Because that's what I heard in the beginning. Okay. So in that context, you use the word goodness. Very good. So what is good? Who decides what is good? Now, if you go to the highest sense, all that leads you, this they must understand. And again, ask them a question that if you have a difference of opinion, I am taking a usual example. There are three options. One is you try to convince the other person. At the end, you will say, because I am saying so. That's one option, isn't it? Second is, now they say, we agree to disagree, but we will not fight. We have differences of opinion. You are with Russia, I am with Ukraine, or vice versa. I am with Russia, you are with Ukraine, but we will not fight. We have a right to our opinion. Second. Third is we try to understand and arrive at something still greater. So, what is good? Good is all that is leading you towards unity, towards harmony. Good is not that which is leading you towards quarrel. Good is all that gives you peace inside, not something which is creating an agitation inside, an excitement inside. Good is all that liberates you. Freedom. Freedom from what? From fear. Freedom from anxieties. And you can take the counterpart. All that fills you with anxiety, fear, doubt, etc. Now they can take example and they will come up with everything in life you can put in these two. So basically, you have to connect them with life, take their own life incidents, something. You can ask, for example, if a child would come to me and say, I had this fight and that person, So I'll ask them, okay, tell me, you did this, you gave him a boxing. What are the other alternate things which you could have done? They'll come up with what is good. So mother, once there was a child who was very extremely naughty and he would punch. Then she asked him, what is greater, to box somebody or to hold your anger within, which requires a greater strength? He said, the ability to hold my anger inside. Then she gave him a practical way that every time you get angry, what you should do. So that they understand. So they should know that from here, I have to go there step by step. So, in the highest sense, goodness is for an individual or a society, all that takes you closer to the divine truth and its progressive manifestation is good. All that takes you away from it veils the presence. Now I am taking it to the highest level. That is not good. Two examples. Mirabai asked Tulsidas, is it good that I eat meat because my in-laws want me to do so? I don't want to do it because I love Krishna. What should I do? They are saying if you don't listen to us, then you are not doing something which a daughter-in-law should do. Common problem, no? What is taught to us? What is good? Listen to the in-laws. So she writes to Tulsidas. He says, all these people are confusing me. Tulsidas says, very interesting. It's now famous. One of my favorite, you know, says, Jake priya na ram vedehi, so chadiye taj koti bari sam yadyapi param sanehi. And gives example from Ramayana. He says, Bali Guru Tyajo, Vibhishan Bandhu. Vibhishan abandoned his brother. Bharat abandoned his mother. What more you want? For the sake of what is true and beautiful and good. Your heart would say that. So again, the important thing is that no fixed formats, freedom to explore, And the role of the teacher is just to gently lead them to a point where they have the aha feeling and they say, yes, this is good. Not like this is good, this is bad. They don't understand it. So they must be led to a point where they come up with the answer. Ah, yes, I know. That will have a lasting effect. Yes, please. That's what we were talking about. So, through stories, through real life examples, through the sense of the divinity in things. At one point, we had in Sanatana Dharma, okay, we have forgotten it. I'll give an example. Everything at one point was sacred. So, as a child, when we grew up, we were taught that, now what is it? Grab your meal. McDonald's culture. You rush and grab your meal. You have paid, you grab your meal. Now we are learning it in another way. You first ask, do you want to have it on the table? No. But most people will take a selfie and post it. But at least you ask. Which is better? Obvious, no? It's all about psychic education. It is not, you are not using a word. How we learnt it? First, roti, chapati goes to whom? Cow. Second, to the crow. Who are the crows? The pitters. Third goes to the dog, the faithful guardian. And then you share it with those. Then you eat it. Now you see the beauty of this. The law of sacrifice, interconnectedness, everything is being taught. So teach them. Only the psychic understand these truths. The mind cannot. Vital will use aggressive logic. What do you mean? I am the one who should be the go-getter, first one, go-getter culture. But these things were ingrained. Now it is gone. Now you can't start telling children, go find the cow. If you are in America, you will not even find a cow or a crow. They have either killed them, put them in for. It's sad. Difficult even to hear a bird, in the morning. So they ask me, Kaisa lagta hai? I said, most horrible. Some of the people must be knowing who must have visited, no? It's so difficult to hear even a bird cry. Cry means that sometimes you'll hear if you go to that, there are parks specially meant for that. Cow, I don't know. I haven't seen cow when I visit US ever, and I miss my cows, our cows. Cows are so lovely. Look at a calf, the eyes of the calf. They're so you feel like hugging them. You miss all this. It's all about human beings and consumer culture. You have malls, you're missing these but life is natural and organic, no? In India, you come out, you will have a kolam, you will have this chirping, you will have chai wala, you will have newspaper, you have people, somebody even probably quarreling on the road, some chanting going on in the temple. So people ask how, I said, this is life. That's why India will rise because, India has all never disconnected. How much Mayavad disconnected us from life, but it could never succeed because we are always connected with life. In our temple, when puja is going on, there is something else going on uh, outside also. It's connected because all life ultimately is that one life which is revealing itself. So, so do it through real life examples. So you have to understand what is the psychic quality? Love for truth, good beauty. Psychic quality is the sense of the divinity in things. So when you treat anything or anybody with respect, it should not be just because one is elder, but because there is the divine presence in all. Do namaste. You do like this. Pondicherry, I love this method. Good mornings. Simply because it is the divine presence. Now you may not do it consciously, but most people don't do it consciously. They acquire as a habit, but you can make it conscious. So turn everything into a means for the psychic disclosure. That's how it should be. Yes. How we can? Yes. So you are already doing one way to meditate upon them. That's a very good way, I must say, that people keep a month. That is the method I had used in my personal sadhana. That every month I had taken that, but I had used it not greeting. I can understand for children it is, but you can take it to next level where they come up with, expressions of humility. For example, since we're talking about humility, expressions of goodness. So in a class, supposing a month is about humility, so at least one class, maybe a assembly, but assembly is too big. You can't handle children, more than a few. So talk to them. What are your examples of what is humility? Teach them about, what is the benefit of humility. As I said, humility opens doors to knowledge. So have a discussion with them because they are largely living in the mind. And then in their own life, they will start. When they see the teachers, they will practice it spontaneously by default. So these are the ways you can bring in about goodness. And each goodness, each quality will be like that. I had done it like 1 month, I have to practice peace. Then 1 month equanimity, 1 month this. So I would meditate upon it, and I'll try that I have to keep it intact. So it helps. I'm not saying that this is the ultimate way is the divine presence brings everything, but in the beginning it helps too. See, in the mother's quality, if you look at it closely, it's part of the mother's symbol. So one is that you are doing the qualities at the periphery. The other is simply keep the divine in the center. That's where the qualities are emerging. So that's how, we developed all this through reading of Ramayana. What is Ramayana about? God is at the center. So when you keep the divine in the center, automatically they will develop. But that is a little more grown up children. Why the divine is, see, that has practical implications. It's a corrective to egoism, excessive egoism. There is a larger good, a greater truth that should be at the center. In discussions, it can be that whether it's not about me or you, but is there something called as truth which endures? Let's discover it. So many ways. If you are keen, many more methods will emerge. Aspire for it, mother will herself. All this I am saying is all random, not given a thought to it. See, so many are emerging. Another 1 hour, 2 hours, we could go on each quality, and they'll keep emerging. Have the aspiration, it'll come. Now you
We generally talk about generation again.
can. Yes.
After the marriage, the parent aspire to develop their family, and with the blessings of the divine mother,
Mhm.
we get the offspring. And we didn't
Mhm.
that should be of this kind, that kind, he should be an engineer, doctor, as per our perspective. And once the child grows up, he or she goes away and settles down in the foreign countries. Now, most of the parents, they are getting very old age and they are putting old age
Homes.
children do not want to come to India and the senior foreign country. Because everybody wants their child.
Blame part is very easy. Blame part, I can say, the parents. Without a doubt. They are the ones, parents are the ones who, first of all, you have no right to bring a child into the world to fulfill your needs that, he will grow up and he'll become my stick and all that. You don't bring a child for very selfish purposes. Second, if you see creation, one understands from the flowers, the pollen spreads far and wide by the air because it has to people all over the world. There's a beautiful story like that when Guru Nanak once went to a village where uh, he suddenly says, "Aapka gaon basa rahe. Your village should remain. Folk should remain here." Now that place, people were all rowdies, horrible people. He says, "Why is he giving such a good blessing?" Another village he goes and says, "Aapka gaon ujhad jaye." He says, "Why are you saying this?" He says, "See, here people are very good. They should go far and wide to carry that seed of goodness. Children must go far and wide so that they can carry what we have given them. They should give it to the world. They must travel far and wide, wherever I am saying." So whenever I so many times traveled outside in America, earlier they used to ask. I said, "You're ambassadors of India. Do you realize that children should be such that when people meet them, they ask, 'Who were your parents?' That's why when people ask, say, don't talk to them about Mother and Sri Aurobindo this way. That they are great masters. They should see you and ask, 'Who is your master? From where did you learn all this?' Then you say Mother and Sri Aurobindo. That makes sense. Otherwise, you say, Mother and Sri Aurobindo are great teachers, this, that, or go yogis. Then they say, by the way, seeing you finished product, we are not very enthusiastic. so, parents, without a doubt, responsibility will always go to the generation which taught them. They must travel far and wide, even to grow wider, plastic. As to themselves, why did they make themselves helplessly dependent? You should not be dependent on. See why this situation of old age home has come. Because India had the three, Shobindu used this in aphorism, three pillars of its communal life. There was the family, there was the community, and there was the village. I have grown up in a place, and many of us may have seen it. Who depended on whom? There were parents, I know, next door to the place where I was living in a small little, there were a couple who were childless. How did they handle it? Because it was a community life. Everybody knew everybody. So uh, when they died in front of me, then whole community was engaged. Arey, usko bula lo, isko bula lo. We have disconnected ourselves from life. So if as a human being, we have connected ourselves, kept connected with life which is around, nourished it, then why do we think that they will not come? Everybody will come. In fact, your own child, you may think that he will help me. That particular day, he may have gone somewhere. Now you are depending on a child who that moment was not there. Whereas if we learn to depend, I'm not even coming to divine, that is ultimate. But even in the life around, if we understood yagya, the interconnectedness, we don't have to depend on anyone. There are plenty. Then next level also I will take it. Future of life is ultimately communes. Shobinda has said that. Commune living. So basically now it is coming up. So in a commune living, basically wherever, but we have to learn to create the sense of commune. So how do we create the sense of commune? Maybe through common festivals, maybe through common things. Everybody knows each other and interconnected. So when you have a problem, if you suddenly call a neighbor and say, I have developing chest pain, they will come, or if he's away, he'll transmit, because there is a connectedness. This is a modern problem because we have disconnected ourselves. People live in flats, they don't know who is next door. In Air Force, we had learned something very beautiful. When a new person got into posting, the person was already, let's say, posted for 2 years as a house already established, and somebody new has come. So the norm was that all those who are already present will invite him. You come to my home for dinner today. I'll pack dinner for you. You need water. Take it, please. Because they know gas will take time to come and all this will take time to come. And when somebody was going, again, because he'll be busy with packing, so they would say, their dinner was fixed. 15 days, you don't have to do anything. It was understood because it's an example of a commune living. And not even permanently they are there, but there is a interconnectedness. You may not work in the same department, you may not uh, enjoy each other's company, but it was understood. In effort, this is a norm that when a new person is posted to a unit, that family doesn't have to cook. For 15 days till the gas comes, somebody or the other will be there. You have to tell, ki, no, it's okay, now we can handle. So this spirit of sharing and caring for each other is what is required to be inculcated in a community. How do the children get it? From parents. If they see their parents are not caring and sharing, they also develop the same quality. If they see that parents care for others, they share with others, they are helpful to the neighbors, to others, then firstly, we won't need, and children will get this quality. But they must travel out. They must. Old age home should not be there, except, and wherever they are there, like for instance in ashram, we don't use the word old age home. That's because they don't have any family. So ashram is the family. So when people say old age home, I said, excuse me, this is not old age home. They are family. And it takes time to explain sometimes to the sisters who are, they come trained sometimes from outside, and the ammas who are working. So they think it's like any hospital and they are patients. So it takes time to explain to them they are not patient, they are not coming from elsewhere, they are family. This person, this lady, this old man whom you are taking care of, they are my family. So then they understand, okay, Dr. Ayya's family. So, they must get the sense that this is family. That's not old age home. Some people use this language even now because I've been put right now as, to take care of one of these units where there are about 40 plus inmates. I keep telling them we share together, we read Savitri together. That's because in our setup, yeah, we have Savitri reading. Sometimes some people recently, they were even playing Ludo one. Now somebody has joined us. Come. So the sense of camaraderie, where does these qualities come from? From childhood. And they see in parent that they are themselves wanting to snatch and keep and don't give this toy, don't show it to your neighbor's child because he may take it away. When they do this, what does children get it? Yeah, without a doubt, parents. Blame part is very clear. You didn't instill into the child those virtues. By you, I mean the parent. They didn't instill into the child those qualities. Why are they blaming? Why they couldn't instill? Because they didn't carry it. And as to old age home, they should be replaced by commune living. And I think that's the future of everybody, collective life. Yes, please. Yeah, maybe just one or two we can take.
Last question.
Yeah, you can ask. There is no problem. Yeah, yeah. This is called the googly. Okay, I'll be very honest since you have asked the question, and this is now more or less known. As far as I am concerned, I can answer you. Yes, I know fully. And some of my past lives have got disclosed because the moment you unite with the psychic being, you get to know some of these past lives. Don't ask me what they were. That's one. I mean, this is good enough. Whether I'm able to see the psychic being or another, you don't see the psychic being that, oh, there's a flame which is burning. You can see. Some people can see that. I don't see that way, but I can know that where the psychic is awake and where it is not awake. That is easy enough because if you have something, carry something in you, you will notice it in others. We can see in others only what we have discovered in ourselves. That's for sure. And I may add as a indirectly, you can speak about anything authentically only if somewhere either you have glimpsed or realized it. You cannot speak. People speak about supermind, spiritualization, and see how boring it is. After some time, you wonder, bol kya raha hai? You cannot speak because it'll all be a mental cobweb. So, I mean, that's the personal side. But more importantly, psychic being is very easy to realize. Why psychic being? The divine presence is very easy to realize. It is the stuff of existence. I was talking in the morning, stillness. You go to Brahman, get rid of all these names, information, all this. Sit quietly. Start with the evenings. Take up any sound, even music. After some time, you'll go beyond it, behind it. You'll drift into a state of inner stillness. Play a vigorous game, come back, sit quietly. You will feel a sense of stillness entering in. Not the ultimate depth, but that's a glimpse, a window door. It's like a thread. If you catch it, you can go, even up to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, if one is interested. But there are these glimpses of the divine presence. All that is required is just be quiet in the mind and quiet in the vital. That's all that is required. Cut down the desires, it'll give you freedom. If desires are completely gone, total freedom. And in that freedom, one will experience something of the presence. Quieten the mind. Tell it, you know what? You think you are very smart. Actually, you can't know anything. Mind will say, what? Tell it, see, can you know what is going to happen next moment? No, I can't. Sit quiet. When the mind grows quiet, you will begin to experience. Now, where will be the end of that experience? I am not, because that's not something to be even told, or what the experience will be like, because in each one it will manifest differently. Some people are thinking they'll see a fire, some are thinking they'll see a bird. Different people will come differently. Some will see a child, flowers, doesn't matter. Or probably you will not see anything, but feel that sense of inner joy and beauty and warmth and sweetness. Different ways will connect. Don't fix a form to how the experience will unfold. Then you are in the best state to touch that core. Okay, okay, one lastest last. Yes. Yes, so freedom is another word. Needing personal spaces, because now children are by nature growing wider. So space is required. Everybody, not only children, grown up, husband, wife, give space. Long back, Khalil Gibran, his books were burnt, unfortunately, because he was on the other part of the globe, Libyan mystic, so you can understand. But he said something very beautiful. Let there be spaces in your togetherness. Don't check cell phones. Don't ask, where were you and what you don't ask. It's not good. True relationship, love doesn't depend on all these stupid things. So give space. That's your personal space, what you're doing. Still, love can be there through everything. Okay, that's the beauty. So, personal space is a necessity to evolve and grow. Personal space is necessity to create individuality. That is the stress today. Out of the social, what shall I say, age, we are growing into the age of individuality, subjectivity. All these require personal space. Freedom is a different thing. Freedom is certainly not doing whatever I feel like doing. That's a bondage. If I cannot stay without doing something, it is making me restless, then how can it be freedom? By default, of course, everybody can do whatever they feel like, that's different. But don't use the word freedom. It's okay. I'm not saying one should pass any moral judgment. Also, there are stages. But don't use the word freedom. Freedom is an inner state. You can be free in a prison. You can be free with your hands bound. Your inner being is slave to none. So to discover that freedom is a journey, it doesn't come automatically. But that is the freedom which is in the real sense. That's what mukti is about. It is not going into some other worlds in somewhere you're not taking birth. Some people say that. Oh, if you are born, then mukti. Mukti is that I will not be born again. So I ask them very conditional mukti. Mukti is this. Even in births, you are free. Even in rags, you are God. That is mukti. That's what our Shiva is. He is not sitting on a Mercedes car. Nobody is giving him designer clothes, but he's free. But equally, Krishna, he's Raj Rajeshwar, yet he is free. He doesn't need to make a show of his freedom that I am giving away my Dwarka and everything. He dissolved his is a different story. That no, I am going to abandon this, abandon that. I'll walk in a sannyasi's clothes, so people will think I am free. People need not think. Why bother about what people think? If you are free, you are free. And if you are not free, any amount of show of dress will not, it may fool others, but it cannot fool the divine. So wherever there is show, sham, or this external requirement, if you have to prove your freedom by wearing a set of clothes or following a way of life, you are not really free. It may be a process that I am not free. I am trying to, because I have very strong tendencies. Every time I see machi, I want to eat it. So I want to keep away from all non-veg. I will not look at a non-veg restaurant. Some people do this. I'll not look at a girl because I may get enticed. Whose fault? Your or girl's fault? And they blame it on girl. What is worse? You are the person who are bound by your lust. So you have to correct inside you. It's a process. It takes time. Nobody can do it in one day. But the day you correct, then you don't depend on anything. You know that story of last one. Okay, this last is last. Huh? There was a you can ask a question, then I'll tell the story. No, no, teachers have already finished, I think. So last question, last is last. Huh? Quick question.
Also, like some children, they body shame.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Body shaming, I'll come. Yeah, that's the result of a society we live in. First time when I went to London, I was shocked that there was a weighing machine inside the bathroom. Then it struck me why anorexia nervosa is much more common there. Sir would know that time it used to be. We read it. Even I have read it. It is a disease in UK. It is found. Now it is rampant here. Obviously, if you create a culture of weighing machine and fair and lovely advertisement, it's a social problem. It's a problem of our thinking that a person is good if one looks good. And all over the world through advertisement, everything. That's where we have failed. So it's not enough to address a boy or a girl. You have to address it's a symptom of a larger social problem. Like, for instance, rapes. It's not just an individual problem. It's a social problem. Movies will fit in a scene that will titillate an audience. Now, what you have done, you have planted in him a desire for a heroine who actually doesn't look good if you really see her. Ever seen a heroine closely, you will realize. But now you have instilled desire. Then you're provided on his platter pornography. Then at some point he does this. It's not to justify. Of course, the person needs punishment at that point of time. But the point is, who is responsible? A society which has developed along hedonistic lines. This is what is called pursuit of pleasure. Pursuit of pleasure will lead toward this. So that's the larger problem. That's where, so a society, who is responsible? Everyone is responsible. What do we do? Government must enact. Government will not enact. Each of us in our own little life, each of us with those with whom we are interacting in our small little things, in our own little self, we have to win that little victory. And so this is how the world will change. We are waiting for the government act, it will not come. World doesn't change. That's how mother says, win your little victories. They have an impact on the world. Very unconsciously, people do it. In every cinema, you see very beautiful story, hero, heroine, all this. Have you noticed invariably, hero is smart and everything, and heroine is so-called looking good. Imagine now change the scenario. Who will go to watch the movie? We are messaging. So we have to learn within ourselves to look beyond appearances to start with. That's the minimum victory. And even in appearances, what is the criteria? How can just a color be sign of being beautiful? I keep saying in our context, and if you ask a Negro, he will say the black is beautiful. We use the word for Krishna, Savra Salona, Draupadi Shama. She is dark complexion and she is such that all of them want to marry Draupadi. You know how she had 5 husbands. One of the stories is that why Yudhishthir agreed. He could have refused. But Yudhishthir is dharma. He could see that since the time Arjun has won, this beautiful maiden who is dark in complexion, let me add that. All the brothers are feeling, I wish. He was, after all, a king who had his own way of keeping them together. I'm not saying this is good or bad or right or wrong. But if you see from that point of view, we are the ones who have instilled. From common lore, Jo Soni So Sikhni, that which is fair. This is nonsense. So we have to start the change. Beauty is not about color. Beauty is about form. Yes, there is something called as beauty of form. There is no doubt. And we should cultivate a beautiful form. And that doesn't require body shaming is, of course, very bad and ugly. But beauty of form, like the Greeks did it. Things should be in harmonious in proportion. Form is not only physical, your speech, your gestures. There are some people who with their eyes can charm you. You just forget the face and you remember the eyes, those charming eyes. Why? Because, yes, their beauty is a very vast thing. Okay, so body shaming should be replaced by the true sense of the beautiful. Now we come to this little story of freedom. And with that, we'll close. Yeah, because there is another program and all the things are interconnected. So there was a person, sannyasi from who had done tapasya in Himalaya, and all of us हिमालय से आए. अरे यार, हिमालय से आके कौन गाइड कर सकता है आप? And then the yogis from Himalaya will give advice to people who are in Grahasti. And they will have reason. We have seen life and others. No. Seeing is different. Living is very different. It's very easy to say, husband and wife should not quarrel, should not do this, that. Marry, बाद में पूछेंगे क्या होता है. So this, I'm not saying you should marry to get this experience. I'm just saying. So this person came and everybody, oh, what a meditation he does. I wish. And somebody went and told to the mother, Mother, I wish you had disciples like him. Mother just smiled. She didn't say yes or no. If I tell you the name of the people who went and told the mother, you'll be surprised how we can misread things. And then next day, playground meditation, all of you know. So he also, this, please come, we have this collective meditation. So after the meditation, the man who had invited him, he opened the eyes, saw he is standing in a corner, quietly like this. He said, what happened? He's an expert meditator. What happened? He said, girls are wearing these shorts. How can I not get distracted? This is freedom. Okay? Okay. Facade of freedom. Okay. Thank you so much, Jai Ma. Jai.
Whatever.